Hindu Perspective, a program that explores the various issues facing our society and, of course, the Hindu perspective on these issues. We are happy to have you once again viewing our program, and we're here to share information and, of course, engage with you. So, as usual, you're free to send your messages, contact the studio, and we'll have our discussions. So, as is customary, we begin with a short invocation prayer. So, you can join, of course, as we say a prayer to Sri Ganesh. Om Vakratunna Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumi Deva Sarvakadyeshu Sarvada. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bole Shagajanan Swami Ki Jai. And of course, the program, we explore the various tenets of our scriptures. And on today's program, as is customary, we have our senior Pandit, member of the Dharmanala Swaha, Pandit Gyandev Prasad, and we're expecting one other guest to come onto our program. However, while we await our guests, of course, we'll engage in various discussions surrounding Hinduism and other issues that are facing us as a society. As you know, Swaha as an organization, that we are socially minded, that while we engage in our religious activities, our spiritual activities, which is necessary, we are aware of all of the issues and situations that are facing us as a society. And Swaha seeks through its network of centers, of schools, of institutions, to work with members of the community, various community, in finding solutions to these problems. So to begin our discussions on whatever topic Panditji has in mind, I'll pass over to Pandit Gyandev Prasad of the Dharmanal of Swaha.
Sitaram, welcome all. As Pandit had said, our program this evening, we expect guests. Our topic is supposed to be about, we spoke about food, we spoke about developing wealth last week, and this week we are going to speak about from wealth going to health, because these are the areas where it is important to develop ourselves. I want to begin by quoting from Krishna Bhagavan, the Gita, because many people feel the Gita is a book of religiousness. It is so. But religiousness gives us information how to live life in all areas of life. So the Gita is not something that to be read when someone dies. So you find that is a normal thing. Someone dies, you read the Gita for the Bhandara. The Gita is to be read every single day for information for life. It tells us how to live and how and when, what will happen when we die. So the Gita is for living and for when one has departed information. So we are dealing with this. So we took from the Gita about wealth, accumulation of wealth, and we spoke about Krishna Bhagavan that he could be a record of wealth. Now today we are going to deal with something which is very important, and I'll read from the Gita exactly what the Gita says. Krishna Bhagavan says in chapter 3, verse 14 and 15, Sampurna prani anya se utpan hote hai. That is, all human beings evolve from food. If you don't take in food, we'll not be able to live. Everybody must eat. It's so simple. Eh? Sanama, my song is very simple, but it's a fact. So what is the implication of that? You all have to eat. And ki utpatti nishti vrishti se hoti hai. And he's saying food comes from where? The production of food comes from is dependent upon rain. So Krishna Bhagavan is making a very deep, profound biological, ecological point here. So we need food. And without rain, food, we can't get food. Where there's crops, we even animals to live. Rain ensues from sacrifice. He is saying rain comes when you do sacrifice. Sacrifice means puja, yagya, penance, those sort of things. And sacrifice is rooted in the prescribed action in the Vedas. So we have to know what the Vedas say, how to perform sacrifices. So Krishna Bhagavan continues in this chapter 3, verse 14 to 15. Know that prescribed actions has origin in the Vedas, and the Vedas proceed from the indestructible God. Hence, the all-pervading infinite is always present in sacrifice. So Krishna Bhagavan is making this very important point. Food, and in many places in the Gita here, he spoke about food, about health. And there are many implications of it. He's saying we all need food. And what kind of food to eat? And Krishna Bhagavan explained that in later on chapter 17. But we're not going down the way. Talk on first with health. So how to get a healthy body? A healthy body needs food. And it is quite obvious. Krishna Bhagavan in the Gita, he also says that those persons who do not eat, those persons who eat too much, those persons who do not sleep, those persons who sleep too much. This is now in chapter 6, verse 16. He said, those who overeat, glutton, we call them. Those who observe a fast, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they fasting. Those people are in ignorance. Those who sleep too much. So many people can't get up early. Many people have sleep. Day has 24 hours. They sleep 18 hours. They call them ajgar, like ajgar, snake. He says also those who do not even sleep. Some people like to wake too bad. I know them. When night comes, they're like a nocturnal animal. They can't sleep. Daytime, they do not. At nighttime, they can't sleep neither. You see, anybody who does not sleep properly in moderation and who sleeps so much, Krishna Bhagavan is saying, these people are in ignorance. They need guidance. So if you want to be on the right path, the part of devotion and the path of a good living, to get a healthy body, this is what we have to do. Now, healthy body comes two ways. Like what we do here, that is eat properly, rest properly, exercise, vyayam karna, and then Krishna Bhagavan in Gita in chapter 8, he speaks about meditation, settling the brain, settling that in this mind of ours. If you're always agitated, you can't be healthy. So health comes from good food, in moderation eating, in moderation sleeping, in moderation waking, and doing meditation. And finally, in that aspect, if I pass on by Pandit, he says pranayam. The thing about food is for intake into the body. The next thing we need to take in is air. And that had a great implication for our society. Where there's so much pollution, what is going on in the air. So you say you have to do breathing exercises. And even those persons who do physical exercises, or Surya Namaskar and all these exercises, it is accompanied by proper breathing. So just go jump on a treadmill and start, running and so on. It is breathing helps develop yourself, not just physically, but mentally also. So if we just recap, we can say breathing is important, proper breathing, food, proper food, in moderation, not overeating and not starve anybody, doing meditation, and having a healthy mind. Your mind must not be sick. That every time you think about something negative, your mind, you can't control it. And this is what I started with. Krishna Bhagavan is saying, to be successful in devotion, you must have a proper mind. Because no matter what we do, when you do puja, you offer a flower, a fruit, you offer prasad, whatever you offer, the mind is what takes it to God. The physical offering is there. But if you have the mantras associated with that, and the proper mind of beliefs, shraddha we say, then nothing, the benefit is very little. So you must have a proper mind. And this is why we say to be successful in life and in devotion, your mind must be controlled. And Krishna Bhagavan in chapter 8, he gives a very beautiful explanation of how to control the mind. Many people, they say your mind is your best friend or your worst enemy. So to be healthy, you must have a proper mind. So these are things which gives us health. And that health is one side, and the flip side of health is illness. Other things give us illness if we not follow these things. So I pass on Pandit.
Thank you, Pandit Gyandev, for starting us off, of course, with information from the Bhagavad Gita and the words of Sri Krishna. And of course, Panditji, you mentioned those verses, I believe, from Dhyan Yoga, which is the meditation control of the mind from Bhagavad Gita. And indeed, Sri Krishna, just to reiterate a bit, as Panditji is saying, he spoke about the importance of the strength of that mind, control of that mind, where he said that we are our best friends, we are our worst enemies. So of course, at the end of the day, It is left up to every single individual, the choices that we make to ensure that we live the best life possible, maintaining this body so that we are able to achieve higher goals. Now, as Panditji mentioned, that the discussion today, we spoke about wealth, today we're speaking about health. And we are speaking in particular about diet, the human body, and why is that important? Now, as we go through the weeks, what we always do, we look at the Hindu perspective, what our scriptures say, and we look at the scientific parts of it, and we look at what is taking place, what others may say as it relates to, the Western world and secular education. And what Panditji is saying, I would like to link it to one very popular theorist. I believe you're a psychologist, but we use it a lot in business, which is called Maslow's hierarchy of need. Now, Maslow identified a hierarchy of needs that every person has, so that whoever may be in life, that we all have these needs. And he sees it as a hierarchy, meaning that there's a highest point and there's a lowest point, and it's a pyramid. And at the base of the pyramid are what? What we call physiological need. And physiological refers to the body. And when we refer to the body, we are referring to the health and maintenance of that body. So what Maslow is saying is that every single person, now we all know that we have all different types of ambition. We want to be well known. We want to be accepted. We have social needs. We have, the need to network with others to be accepted in our community. We want progress. We want status and recognition. That is fine. That is acceptable. And at the highest stage is what we call self-actualization. And self-actualization is that state where, we want to become the best that we can become. We don't do anything for others. We have transcended, the material world, and whatever we are doing is for our own benefit. So that is the state of liberation. It could be compared to the state of liberation from a spiritual sense. So whatever is in the secular world can be compared to our spiritual aspiration. But where does it start? It starts with the physiological. And we always say that if the body is weak, how can we do anything? If that body is weak, it is not well fed, it is not well maintained, then it is impossible to seek anything else. I believe that Panditji would have mentioned it on this program or another program that, a hungry man can't pray. If you are hungry, then how can you pray to God? How can that mind be focused and settled? So that if we are hungry, if we are poor, if we are deprived of food, we will become emaciated, we will become weak. Then there's no way that we can even perform puja. We cannot perform sadhanas. And therefore, when we say Bhare Bhag Manushanupava, that the human body is the greatest form, we say sadhanadha mukadadwada. But how is it possible to do all of that if the body is weak and if the body is sick? And as Panditji mentioned rightly, that this body remains strong, it remains robust through two major things. We speak about food, which I believe we spoke about before, or at least a little bit about it, because wealth, allows us to get food. And secondly, health. But there's also a link between food and health, so that what we eat, helps us maintain that body. So that from that perspective that we all know, Maslow's theory, that this body and health and exercise ensures that the physiological needs are taken care of. And when the physiological needs are taken care of and the body is strong, then we can focus on other areas. So that we also spoke about, meditation and the mind, dhyan yoga and all of those things. But the mind cannot be strong unless the body is strong also. And there is a link between the mind and the body. If the body is weak, the mind will be weak. And if the mind is weak, then the spirit will be weak. So it's called the triad of every human, or the triad of humanity, which is mind, body, and spirit. And there's a link between mind, body, and spirit. And it works all ways. If the mind is weak, the body and the spirit will be weak. If the spirit is weak, then the body and the mind will be weak. And of course, if the body is weak and sick, then the mind will be weak and the spirit will be weak. So that is the importance of health. That is the importance of food. And before I pass back over to Panditji, who will take the discussion forward, it is also for us to note in Hinduism, we have, when we speak about the human body, we have the Panch Kosh. We have the Annamay Kosh, the Pranamay Kosh, the Vigyanmay Kosh, the Manmay Kosh, and the Anandmay Kosh. So these are the 5 sheets of the body. And what is the first sheet? The first sheet is the Annamaya Kosh. And Annamaya means greens. So you have Annapurna Devi. We speak about Lakshmi Mata as a form of Devi, Annapurna Devi as a form of Lakshmi Ma, as a form of greens associated with Satnarayana Swami and all of that within our homes. So that this Annamaya Kosh, this physical sheet, or this sheet that is maintained through greens, it is very, very important that we eat in the right way. We eat the right foods, we eat healthy foods, and in so doing, we are able to maintain this body and the strength of this body. And in so doing, the mind is able to become stronger, and then the spirit is able to become stronger, and we're able to go to higher states of liberation. So that, I just wanted to share these few words with you, coming out of what Panditji would have mentioned, and to pass over to Pandit Gyanav again to take the discussions forward.
Thank you, Panditji. I want to relate it to what we are talking about to our everyday life. So we all know price of vegetables are going up. Price of everything is going up. We all know children have to go to school. Without proper nutrition, their powers and concentration will be affected. So we all have vested interest in ensuring that proper food is provided for society. We have to either plant our garden or ensure we buy proper food. And now there's a lot of emphasis on organic food and so on, which there will be benefits. So each one of us have to make sure our food is taken in the right amount. And there's I want to just deal with some, misconceptions. And I want to clarify that many times people criticize and condemn our way of eating. So you hear them again, oh, curry again, oh, this again, that again. Devotees, ladies and gentlemen, if you listen and you investigate, the Hindu diet is a very good diet. And I'll prove it to you. So we have hardi, we call turmeric. Now they're putting it in medication, selling it. They're actually selling it. So we people believe hardi is not good, but they're selling it. People, dahi, now they're selling it as yogurt. So all those things you have had, it's said dal, rice, and bhaji. It's a complete meal with all you need to sustain your body. You get carbohydrates, you get protein, you get all those things. So that our way of eating is something that is very, very important. And we should not condemn and criticize it. Because what happened over the years, people want to go around and now trying to change the diet. I'm saying, yeah, you can change the diet to an extent, yes. But do not condemn and criticize what has worked over the years, so many years for ourselves. So we are saying our diet is important, and look at it carefully. Do not think that your diet or the diet we have over the years needs to be changed drastically, because what we eat is what makes us, as Krishna and Gita said. The food sustains us, no matter how much weight you lift. Sorry. No matter how much you run, no matter what you do, if your food intake is not good, you will not be healthy. So the food is the basis of Krishna Kan said here. Food is basis. It's what brings us in, keeps us going. It's like fuel for the car. Called gas, whatever you call it, whatever car takes to go. So food is for that, like that to the body. So each one of us have to make sure whatever food we are taking in is consistent with healthy eating. And Gita, you spoke about that previously. What are the good foods, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic food? You spoke about that. So each one of us must ensure. But the point I'm making, do not criticize and condemn our way of eating which our ancestors had, or grandfather or father coming on generation. Oh, curry and rice again. Oh, we can't take on that. Dal and rice and curry. No, do not do that. Because you are condemning something you do not know about, which has been proven and tested. Now they want all kind of different food, not conventional food. So when you go to Ramayana and hear anything now, they want to have different things. They want to have pizza, they want to have macaroni, and all those things. I'm not saying those things are good or bad. I'm saying do not criticize nor condemn. The way of eating of ancestors is something we have, it has been tested, and the Western world is following it, but calling it different name now. Check and see, turmeric with all kinds of things, hardi, garlic, onion, garlic pearl, they call it now. So all those things are there. So what is happening, I'm saying we will not criticize or condemn. We'll continue. We'll take a short break. We're having a short break. When we come back, we shall continue our discussion on how to get a healthy body, starting with food and exercise and breathing and so on. So we'll take a short break. We'll see you in a short while. Please stay with us. Join us as we explore contemporary issues facing societies worldwide. Interviews and discussions featuring local and international experts. You can participate in our live call-in segments, a program of the board of SWAHA.
Join live every Tuesday evening at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and prime time at 7 p.m.
Welcome back to the program. We're discussing the second important part. Remember we say health and wealth. Today we're discussing health. So we are back on our program again, and we're saying eating healthy and don't criticize or condemn our way of eating over the years in our sacred ceremonies. So I'll pass on to Panajai, who will take it further from here. Panajai.
Thank you, Panaji, and we'll come back to the issue of food and health. But today we have a special guest with us, one of our Pandits of Swaha, member of the Dharm Sansad or Swaha, the Pandit's buddy, Pandit in training, Pandit Randall Maharaj. And he himself is a fitness instructor, past owner of a gym. And of course, you know, he is qualified in terms of health of the body and exercise. And Panditji, on behalf of the organizers of the program, we are happy to have you here on the program to share your expertise and to share your advice with us. What we have been saying so far is that, you know, a healthy body is very important when you look at liberation, that praying is one part of it, but without that strength of body, without a healthy body, we're unable to do these things. So that, Panditji, can you just share your perspective, you know, being a health expert on the importance of exercise, importance of health, anything that you see as fit that we'd like to share with our viewers and our listeners?
Sure. Sitaram, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here. Sitaram to all our viewers. Well, Pandit, you know, not just in the perspective of being able to fulfill our daily duties as Hindus or as just a citizen doing daily chores. You know, you go, this body carries us through the passage of life. We need to have respect for ourselves, the foods that we eat, you know, the things that we consume. And we need to strengthen ourselves. We need to daily exercise. We need to keep diseases away. Simple things that anyone could do, walking, taking a swim, playing any sports. If you want to get a little more advanced, you could go to a gym. Weight training is always recommended. But over the years, I've seen, from my decades of experience working with many different people of different age groups, of different categories of religion and backgrounds and so on. You know, I've come to the realization that generally, you know, as a people, that a lot of us really, we don't care for our health as we should. We tend to put it on the back burner. And we find like a lot of people, we work hard all our lives to accumulate wealth, to accumulate things, which is important. But then we sacrifice our health in the process of doing that. And at the end of the day, you find that everything that we have accumulated over a lifetime of work, we now have to spend that or give it up now to try and get back our health. You know, so what I'm saying is, you know, have a balance in your life. You need to work. Sometimes you need to rest. Sometimes you need to do a little exercise. And, you know, all I can say is that whatever literally have
Okay, I think we have a little technical difficulty there with Panditji, so we'll wait till he come on back. So in the meantime, we'll continue our program. So what is being said, and again, we are hearing from the health expert that the value of health, and as he rightly says, through his experience in this field, I mean, he was an owner of a gym, so he would be familiar with the efforts that persons make in terms of exercise and all of that, and his own experience on what they have seen. And I'm sure that we have all seen this in our own lives, that many times we work, and working is good, sacrifice is important, that we have to sacrifice to gain what we want, as relates to career and homes and all of that. But as he rightly says, that at the end of the day, if there isn't a balance, and coming back to what Pandit Gyani would have mentioned, when he shared those words of Sri Krishna, that everything in life has to be balanced. And those are wise words, because we are seeing that playing out in our society when persons work hard, diligently, and at the end of the day, because of that level of work, without taking care of the body, then they're unable to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So that with work, with ambition, with effort, has to come the proper diet, and of course, most importantly, taking care of the body through the medium of health. So that health is our wealth, as it is said. We see so many cases of persons who would have, retired, and as soon as they retire, not long after, they may suffer strokes, or they may pass away, heart attack, because that body has been pushed to such a limit. Now, Pandit Gyani, we can discuss some of these things, because we are looking at the reality of our situation, and it is very easy for us to say that you can take care of that body and you can have balance. But again, we have to be very practical and realistic. And in this program, this is what we seek to do. When we look at our society and the pressures that we face, and again, we talk about the responsibility of national leaders, the responsibility of organizations, that sometimes we do not have a choice but to work very hard. And in that process of just trying to keep up, struggling, keeping our heads above water, that many, many families, they struggle in order to, maintain a living. And therefore that leads to a lot of unnecessary stress on the mind. And of course, stress in itself is a problem, but it also means that the balance that we are seeking in life, we are not able to get that. So Pandit Gyani, is this something you'd like to comment on, share some information, share your perspective on this point?
Definitely, Panditji. I was making a point, and to continue, and to take it where Jared had left it off, is that we link health from the school. So in every school, there is physical education. My understanding is every school, there is this subject called physical education. And this physical education is what the children are supposed to do compulsory, at least from 1 to Form 3. So the school is where we are guiding children to do the right things physically. And then we have to guide them to the right things spiritually and mentally. Now, the point was made in a previous program that each one of us must really control the body, control the mind. If you control the mind, you can control your body. And in many schools, in our school, we have it, in S1E College and the other schools, that we do meditation. So we have to do meditation. This is not a Hindu thing. It is a human being thing that we can sit down and concentrate. Because many children tell you, parents say, I don't know how the boy failed the exam, because he went time to concentrate for 2 hours or 3 hours, he didn't have that capacity. So we have to build the capacity to concentrate, to have the child focus on one thing for a long time. This is where we are saying that these things we are practicing and talking about is not spiritual only, it is for living. So in a school, we have physical education, let the children go out and play. I came out of college school. When I went to teach in our school, there was no cricket, no football, nothing for children to do. It's come, children sit down there, come and sit down, go back home. Take them to savannah, take them outside, do something. So what we are saying is physical activity, P is extremely important. And that put a basis for moving up in terms of getting the skills in cricket, football, and so on. And in addition to that, it gives us the discipline. Because how many times you see great sports personalities fall? Why? Lack of discipline. And discipline comes from the mind. So we have to control that mind, and that's what we do in school. And today I'm making a plug that every school every school, at least 5 or 10 minutes should be dedicated towards meditation. Let children sit and concentrate. And meditation, you can do various ways. There's not only one way, there are many ways. But the idea is to control your mind, control your body, and focus so we can develop. So when you have a focused mind and a strong body, then you have a good population. So I'll pass back on to Pandit Jaidat Maharaj. Panditji.
Thank you very much, Pandit Gyandev. And I see we have Pandit Randall back on. Panditji, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay. So what we'd like to ask you, Panditji, is in terms of Pandit Gyandev mentioned the issue of, we were speaking about meditation and breathing. We know that breathing and exercise and those things go together. So that what you can do is that wherever you were cut off in terms of your contribution, you can, finish up that point. And of course, you can tell us in terms of that link between breathing and exercise and healthy body, because we are saying that all of these things go together to ensure that, we are able to grow spiritually as well as to able to cope with whatever stresses we may experience in life. So, Pandit Randall, we'll pass over to you.
Yes, so the point I was making before simply was just be active. Don't sit down, even if you have no energy. One of the reasons that you might have no energy is actually because you are inactive. It sounds kind of counterintuitive, but that is one of the reasons. You see, the human body wasn't designed to sit for long periods and be immobile. Just by living that lifestyle alone puts you at very high risk for all lifestyle diseases. So what I was saying that, basically get up and do something, do anything, just keep moving. So breathing and exercise. Now, breathing and exercise goes hand in hand. Your breathing is a direct result of how you feel inside. If you're anxious, you have shallow breathing. If you're happy, you'll probably breathe deeper. So, if you physically exerting yourself, you need more oxygen to carry to your blood, to carry to your muscles. So because it's fuel that you use to fuel the exercises, to fuel your workouts. So breathing is very important. And of course, Sanatan Dharma gave us also yoga, which is not just a series of exercises of stretchings and so on, but also of breathing. So breathing is very important. It also helps in detoxifying the body, lowering stress levels, and generally putting you in a much better mood and making you healthier. So it's essential. There's so much literature that you can read on breathing exercises and the importance of breathing that is hard to touching it, all of it really right here in this program.
Okay, thank you, Pandit. And there's one issue that I'd like to raise, and I guess we will have both persons dealing with it. Pandit Gyandev can share his perspective, from the scriptural side and otherwise also, and Pandit Randall, same thing, because both do have experience, in the spiritual field and the secular field also. And this is the area of fasting. Now, fasting is a critical part of Hinduism, and we fast for different reasons. And as Pandit Gyandev mentioned earlier, that, over fasting, so we have covered that point. We don't do anything in excess. We don't overeat, nor do we overstarve the body, because neither is good for the body. But there is a tendency when we are fasting, of course, we eat sattvic bhojan. And regardless of the situation, as Hindus, that is the bhojan that is recommended, sattvic or rajas, never tamasic. But sometimes when we fast, and persons are maintaining fast and vrat and all of that, there's a tendency to eat an excessive amount of food that may be unhealthy for us. So you find that some persons will make sweet rice, which has a lot of sugar. They'll eat that every day. There are also some fruits, and fruits that are high in carbohydrates or calories that may not be healthy for you. So that, of course, that balance also becomes important. But sometimes because we are doing a spiritual act, then, we tend to forget that part of it. And because we are fasting, and we know that we have to eat something that is sattvic to maintain that body, we tend to be over excessive in the ways that we eat. So that, just this point, as we are talking about balance and we are speaking about diet, we are speaking about health, we are speaking about food, and we're trying to bring all of that together. Both pundits can share their perspective and, of course, some advice on what is the best way to do this, how we should go about, trying to bring that balance in our lives whenever we are fasting, because there are so many occasions in the Hindu calendar that we fast. So I could probably ask Pandit Gyani first, and then we'll pass over to Pandit Randall.
Thank you, Maharaj. Krishna Bhagavan has said in the Gita, nothing in excess is good. So fasting also is within reason. And you want to add, now we always read our scriptures with the intention of interpreting the scriptures in our circumstance. So if a man is sick, he has some medical problem, it's difficult to fast. So fast is recommended under normal circumstances. Now, if you have some condition, like diabetes, let's say, and you go to fast and you cap out, your blood sugar drops low, it's detrimental. So what is happening in Krishna Bhagavan, and I want to make this point abundantly clear. Krishna Bhagavan never said any food is good or bad. If you read chapter 17 properly, he says men, sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic like different type of foods. It's men who like different type of food. He did not criticize or condemn any type of food. So if you're fasting and you want to eat sweet rice and you're diabetic, you're in for problems. If you're fasting and you want to eat a quantity fuller, instead of eating 5 roti, you're eating 2 roti. I mean, that's not fasting, that's eating less. So fasting basically is what has been prescribed in our Vedas as controlling not just taste, the 5 senses. So when you're fasting, you control what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell, what you eat. So controlling everything to get that sense in order. Because the fasting is what helps to control the mind. The end result of fasting is controlling the mind. So when you're fasting, and I want to just, this is something we'll discuss in detail later on, but Randall can also add his input into this. Many people have, I don't know what, against onion, garlic, and salt and pepper. Salt is raising the pressure, excessive amount. If you check and see, onion is one of the healthiest food they have. But our people, for some reason, do eat onion, do eat garlic, do eat salt, do eat pepper. Krishna Bhagavan never said do eat these things. He said moderation, use it for your benefit. So if, another fact, garlic, Randall can substantiate this point, you can check your internet. Garlic is what they call a superfood. It reduces blood sugar, how you call it, pressure. It helps in cholesterol. It does so many things, but within reason. Onion does the same thing. Pepper adds to that. Salt is required for clotting the blood, but not in excess. When you have a problem with high blood pressure, then minimize the salt or use something substitute. So we are saying our people have had over years, and I've researched it to find out from a point of view of food and so on. The statistician, what does salt, garlic, pepper, onion does to the body? What do you think do to the body? So we'll continue in a short while. We have to take a break here. When we come back, we'll go to Randall to get his perspective on fasting and eating whatever food, whether it's sweet rice, whether it's garlic, onion, pepper, whether it's eating at all. When you do that all, what you get? In your system. So we'll take a break here. Please stay with us. We'll come back in a short while. When we come back, we go to Randall, our health specialist for today. We take a break here. Please stay with us. Join us as we explore contemporary issues facing societies worldwide. Interviews and discussions featuring local and international experts. You can participate in our live call-in segments, a program of the board of SWAHA.
Join live every Tuesday evening at 4:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. and prime time at 7 p.m.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Hindu Perspective, and today we are discussing the issue of health in Hinduism. And with us, we have our health expert, a member of our organization, and a member of the Dharm Sansad or Swaha Trini Pandit, Pandit Randall Maharaj. And of course, Panditji, we pass over to you to share your comments with us on the topic being discussed.
Yes, so welcome back again. So we're talking about onions and garlic and so on. Now, I know garlic is a natural antibiotic, and it has been used for thousands of years in Chinese and even Indian medicine. Um, it is used for so many useful things and is essential as part of your diet. You know, I was once talking to a doctor in India, and he said there's certain things that you must include in your diet every day. And he made mention of turmeric, ginger, black pepper, garlic was one of the ingredients that he mentioned. And he said it helps keep your body free of things like cancer and other diseases. Um, Also, onion, I do believe, I'm not sure, but I do believe is high in sulfates. And now they're telling you onion is essential for rebuilding collagen and regrowing your hair and so on. You know, it's one of the foods, again, it's like a superfood that it helps keep you young. And these things should be including in our diet every day. Pandit Jaidat, you made a comment about fruits being high in carbohydrates something earlier. And I think there's a common a common perception that we have in Trinidad. And I don't think I've ever heard a statement that someone says that I'm not feeling well, maybe my blood sugar is going up, I need to stop eating fruits. You see, fruits also contains a lot of fiber. So even though it may have sugar, because of the fiber, it slows the release of the glucose into the bloodstream. But fruits have much more nutrients than just carbohydrates. You know, there's a lot of trace minerals, and there's a lot of flavonoids and so on. All these things preserve health. So I would always recommend fruit, always, fruits and vegetables. The only problem with fruits and vegetables is sometimes the way that it is grown with the pesticides and so on. So, you know, you need to wash it out and be diligent about these things. But also for fasting, now we advocate fasting for so many occasions throughout the year. Now, there's new research that's telling you there's a new diet called intermittent fasting, not particularly a diet, but a style of eating, where you do not eat for 16 hours overnight, generally speaking, 16 hours. And then you break your fast with something that's light, a light meal or anything like that. And then you continue eating within a window, let's say a window of 8 hours. And after that, you fast again for another 16 hours. So this type of eating, this style of eating has shown to improve health greatly, and it helps you maintain steady blood sugars. It helps you to lose weight. There's a list of benefits that can be derived from fasting. The thing about the abundance of food that we have in today's society is just stress to eat, your body eat. We just had to eat, but too much of anything, as you know, is good for nothing. And eat is detrimental. Fasting is one of easy way to gain control over yourself, to gain control over your senses, and also to improve your health. So, you know, I'll just leave it at that for now, but there is a lot of benefit to fasting.
Thank you, Panditji, and definitely, um, we have heard from both parties, and Panditji, I know it's not appropriate to reveal people's age, but if you look at Panditji, you may think he's in his 30s, right? But Panditji is probably close to 50, I believe. Pandit Randall, and he looks, yeah. So he has no problem admitting that. So probably around 50, Panditji, and
I'll be 50 in October. Yeah.
he'll be 50 in October, which and he looks young, right? So he is a health expert, and he speaks about the benefit of onion and garlic and all of those things to maintain, you know, a healthy look, a young look, all your hair and everything, right? Not like some of us. So of course you take the advice of Panditji, and as Pandit mentioned, you know, sometimes a testimony, and I'll say that Panditji is a testimony because you know you can see that reflected in his physical look. Whatever he's telling us, obviously practices that. And he speaks about the intermittent fasting. I can tell you from my own personal experience, I have done intermittent fasting, and Panditji, you know, there's also the carb cycling. I've done keto diet, and you know, I was able to drop probably around 15 to 20 pounds also myself doing those things. And it's very easy to do because with intermittent fasting, you know, it allows you the fasting times and just the waking time. And sometimes that is the problem with fasting. You ask someone to fast, it is difficult because when you're working, the more that you use your, you use mental energy and all of that. You get hungry. If you are studying, that you tend to get very hungry. If you are sleeping, you don't feel hunger. And with intermittent fasting, of course, your sleep time counts also. So you're looking at 16 hours, and it doesn't matter if you're awake or you're asleep. So the time that you're sleeping overnight also counts. So that, that is good advice that you're giving us, Panditji. That is very good information that I'm sure that our viewers they will appreciate. And when you come on again, if there's anything else you want to share in terms of practical tips, that is just one I can share from my experience that the overnight sleep, counts as part of the intermittent fasting. And I believe that you can also drink water while you are doing intermittent fasting. I think it's just food you don't eat, which is not very difficult for you to do. You just delay the first meal that you eat for the day, so that they are very useful tips. And the topic is, health and maintenance of the body, and we're getting invaluable information from someone who's qualified. Now, what I can do, I'll ask a question. I'll probably ask Pandit Randall to answer, and then Pandit Gandhi, if you can make your input also. And Pandit Randall, we are speaking about the body and the mind and the soul. And before you came in, this was one of the points that we made, and I'd like to get your view on it also, that, there's a link between the body and the mind, and of course, the spirit also. So that the body is healthy, then the mind becomes more positive and healthy, and then our spirituality becomes more strong because we become very positive people. If the body is sick, of course, the mind will be depressed and all of those things. If you're experiencing, we always have to go to the doctor, we'll have to worry about our bodies and health and all of those things, then we become stressed. And those things affect our own spirituality and the time and the focus and the energy that we can use, in fact, to build ourselves. So, Pandit Randall, being in this field and seeing persons maybe entering that state of depression, sometimes worry about their health, or seeing people come into your gym or consulting with you and coming out of that stage. Can you tell us about, that link between a better body and a strong mind and a strong spirit? And maybe give us a testimony of some of the things you may have seen and experienced, of course, without revealing the identity of any person.
Yes, of course. It's interesting that you mentioned depression, because recently, well, we're coming out of the COVID pandemic. But what I have seen within people that that I know personally, a lot of people got depressed being at home all the time. It was a drastic change. Or not just being at home, but being inactive contributed to the depression. If you have, it's almost like you have, I wouldn't say no purpose, but no job to go to really, or nothing to do. It takes a toll. And then if you're home and you're not physically active as you used to be, that again, it leads to a psychological effect. You see, Pandit, the mind sits in the body. And if your body is unhealthy, your mind is going to have an effect. Now, you could have a healthy body and a healthy mind, but if your spirit is weak, you don't do your dharmic duties. You don't treat people as you should, or you don't, you still have an imbalance. And this again is not good. It leads to problems down the road. So equal mind, equal body, equal spirit, I always say. And you need to do practices and to do things basically to feed each of these. You need to do your spirituality as recommended by our scriptures. You do your puja, or you do your meditation, or you do jnana. You read scriptures, you help other people, you feed your spirituality, you make yourself spiritually stronger. You do physical activity, you work, you exercise, you get enough rest. Rest is important. It is one of the pillars of health. And obviously, you have you do breathing exercises, meditation, you practice, you get a peace of mind. So as a human being, as consisting of these three aspects, you bring a balance into your life. You become elevated, you become more relaxed, you live a healthier life, you're a happier being, a happier person. And to focus on one and to ignore I always recommend to clients that it's good you come to the gym or it's good you take care of yourself here, but make sure other aspects of your life too are healthy, because they all would have a toll on you. That all would lead to an imbalance, which again is not a good thing. So it's important. A person is consists of these things and all must be taken care of.
Thank you very much. And Pandit Gyandev, would you like to share your perspective on this discussion?
Sure. As you mentioned a word just now, water. Now, when we talk about food, somehow we do not include water. So when you're fasting, you drink water. Now, some people have the idea that you can't drink water when you're fasting. You're trying to break these myths about fasting. Because fasting, the purpose is to control the senses. Now, in Trinidad, you have to be very careful. Because the kind of water we have, the kind of rain we have, when rainfall, water is cut off. When it's dry season, you can't get water. So it's a really funny situation in Trinidad. Water is a very, very serious issue. But if you look at the scriptures, in the beginning, if you look at pictures, you see that Vishnu Bhagavan lies on the ocean. And that ocean of water, it says milk is water basically. And the basis of life, as mentioned in Vedas, is water. So water is the basis of life. And we have to have pure water. We have to make sure water intake is, I know how much, Randall could tell us how much water you're supposed to drink daily, but pure water, that is, not just drinking any kind of water, but water, and also they have a different kind of water. They have water with oxygen, water with salt, water without salt, all kind of thing. But you don't want pure water, whether it's spring water or not. So water is important for the consumption of the human being, and that helps us in health. So that when we want to have, as I said, the important thing that we emphasize is that whatever we do is to control the mind and have a healthy body to pray to God and do our daily chores. Randall made a very important point. If you sit down and do nothing, by doing nothing, inertia, your muscle become called atrophy. Everything you do is you get tired after a while. We have to keep, and Krishna Bhagavan Gita says that no one can remain inactive for any period of time. You should be active. You may sit down still, but your mind is working, the muscles are working, your organs are working, your heart is beating, your lungs, you are breathing. So that action is something very important. So I just want to add to that discussion, Panajayita, that water is included in food. When you say food, do not think water is something separate. You eat food, you drink water, water is included as part of food. And water, you say, according to all scriptures, the Vedas, and all the Shastras and the Puranas, water is the basis of life. This is why Krishna Bhagavan, in Golden Puja, you hear about that, or rain, or Ind, so many things, generations coming up. So for us, water is important, very essential. And maybe you can hear how much water. There are many different theories about how many cups of water should be drunk per day, and so on. I'm not sure, but the idea is drink water, drink sufficient amount, do over drink neither, I suppose. As Krishna Bhagavan said, nothing in excess or nothing in little bit. Do it in moderation. So I'll pass on to Panajayat, and we can discuss a little further. Water is part of food and how much to take, whether you're fast or not.
Thank you. And before we pass to Pandit Randall, who will probably give us some information on that, Panditji, in terms of, I know there's this concept of overwatering. There's a recommended amount of water that we should drink. And Pandit Randall, I'm sure as a health expert, you will share that with us. But as the discussion is taking place and we are speaking about all of the different, we are speaking about water, we are speaking about turmeric and garlic and all of these things. We spoke about food, and different leaves. We spoke about, I mean, we didn't mention that word, but in essence, that is what it is, Ayurvedic medication, which, has come from India and from the sages who, by their own merit were medical doctors. They have discovered these medication, natural medication. And of course, when we look at our practices really are intended to ensure that these trees, so for example, neem tree, the tulsi tree, what we call moringa, all of these things, they have medicinal benefit, and therefore they're included in part of our rituals, part of our puja. We speak about water, and the body and the world containing a certain percentage of water. When you look at the makeup of the culture, when you look at the dirt compared to the water, they all replicate what exists in the world and what our scriptures tell us, so that even our puja is a microcosm of what exists, you know, in the physical world. And that also comes or is grounded in our scriptures so that we respect the Tulsi tree, so that we always ensure that we have it growing on our yard. We know that it brings spiritual benefit, but there are other physical benefit, physiological benefit. And therefore, when we say that, you know, we respect the Tulsi tree, we always have the Tulsi tree, the neem tree, the beel tree, all of these different trees, and we will continue growing those things and have it with us for a long time. And as we continue keeping these and time passes, of course, you know, those with the scientific mind, they will be able to understand and be able to find different uses for this so that we will be able to, you know, maintain ourselves. Even something we look at the hardy that we use for wedding and all of these things, that we bathe ourselves with that. And I know that sometimes we get lash, there's internal damage, you drink the hardy. Those things, you know, it helps heal the inside. You have aloe vera, those things help also. And in our puja, we use these things, you know, when we have the hardy ceremony, matikur, whatever term we want to use, we bathe the body with that hardy and pure coconut oil, that the body becomes shiny and clean and all of that. It becomes a cleanser for the skin. So that all of these things help to maintain the body. And in some cases, it is for health, you know, medical reasons. And in other cases, it can be used for cosmetical reasons. So for example, putting aloe vera on the face helps, you know, with the skin to get tighter. You use the hardy, that helps clean the pores of the skin. And, you know, with the increase in prices, and you know, the decrease in income and all of that are facing also the citizens, as a reality that maybe we can consider, we can look at some of these remedies that our ancestors would have given to us. So I just wanted to make that point and pass over to Pandit Randall. You know, you can tell us a little bit about the water, because that is such an important and critical part of our diet on a daily basis.
Sure. Well, I have actually read many different ways of calculating your water consumption. You know, the old standard was 8 glasses a day, but that obviously wouldn't apply to everyone. It really depends on a person's body weight and their activity level. So off the bat, I really can't tell you an exact figure, but what I can say, you shouldn't basically be thirsty. So it's always a good idea to keep a little water next to you and sip it throughout the day. I personally, for my clients, I recommend between 8 and 12 glasses a day, depending on their body weight. You know, because you get water from a lot of other sources as well, including the foods that we eat. So, you know, basically common sense should be prevail on this. You also made a mention of coconut oil. Now that's a whole other program. There's a lot we could discuss about that. And pure coconut oil is one of the best things you could ever cook with if you want to be free of heart disease and diabetes and so on. It is incredible. So, Pandits, I know we're short on time, so I'll just end on that today. It was a pleasure being here. Maybe we could do this again sometime, because there's so much information that, you know, is left on the table that we could talk about.
Thank you, Panditji. And yes, we are almost out of time. And Panditji, once you're willing, you know, next week also, if you're available and you'd like to join us, we can continue the conversation, because you have brought up the issue of the coconut, and that is used in our puja. And again, you know, before we used to believe that you know, it has a lot of cholesterol. That is before we knew about good and bad cholesterol and all of those things. So Panditji, you know, he has the research, he has the information, and I'm sure that our viewers would have been grateful and appreciative of this program in particular, just as all the other programs. But today, you know, some very practical tips that we can use to ensure that we live a very active life, that our life is balanced. It is, you know, we don't live a sedentary lifestyle. You know, there's always the misconception that if we eat right, or I'm not eating a lot of doubles every day, then I'm okay if I don't exercise. But living a sedentary lifestyle, of course, is detrimental to us in so many different ways. So that as we wrap up, let me say special thanks to Pandit Randall, and of course, you know, Pandit Gyani is always here to start us off and to give us the scriptural perspective and information. And from that, we, of course, you know, we jump in our program. So that until we meet next week, thank you to our viewers, and we will see you on next week's episode of the Hindu Perspective. Sitaram.
Sitaram.
All right, you can remain on for a minute, Ran.